Hello, this is the mower that I use behind my little tractor, and it started life as a finishing mower that you'd find behind a compact tractor. So it's about a 5 foot cut. It would have had or it did have when I bought it, a bevel gearbox on the top for being driven by a PTO, and provision to be attached through a 3-point linkage on the back of a tractor. So it was a mounted or semi-mounted implement. But after I bought it, I modified it by adding this drawbar, which means that it's a trail mower, so it supports its own weight on its four wheels permanently. It doesn't get lifted up on the back of the tractor, so you tow it around like a trailer. And it's good, it works well, but that's not to say it's perfect. So when I'm mowing sometimes on a slight sideland, the mower, instead of sitting out nicely to the side of the tractor, it wants to sort of drag behind diagonally. So I'm going to make a modification to it whereby I'm going to use this top link and some bracketry that I'm going to have to weld on to take the weight off of the front wheels. So I'll leave the front wheels in situ, albeit they'll be slightly raised up out the way. The weight of the mower itself will then be supported by the two rear wheels and the ring hitch at the front, which should mean that the mower follows the path of the rear wheels rather than being directed to slide sideways by the front wheels, which is what happens currently. Now I'll leave the front wheels in situ just in case, for when you go over a bump, and to stop the front scuffing the ground here, the front wheels will just allow it to ride over that, so it'll have some mechanical float built into it. Yeah, so that's the plan. Let's get on with it. So what I'm going to do is add this top link to a point on the drawbar and a point somewhere on the mower here, that when the front wheels are removed, these 2 points will want to come together. So I'm going to use this to stop that happening. And because it's a top link, it's by definition adjustable, so that will allow me to set the mower up initially horizontal to the ground, parallel to the ground. Then the cut will be correct. This will give you the ability to change the attitude of the mower, but it will allow you to initially set it up parallel to the ground, and start mowing. Of course, what I'll then have to do is add a jack to the front of the drawbar for hitching and unhitching the mower from the tractor, because there'll be a significant amount more weight on the ring hitch then than what there is at the moment. Too much for lifting up and down probably. you should be able to make out the slotted hole in the rear piece of box section here. And currently, as the mower is in the configuration it would be behind the tractor, you can imagine if the front wheels went over a bump, so the front of the mower was to rise up, this pin would move up and down this slot, so that's what allows you to have a mechanical float. You can see now how adjusting this top link would effectively adjust the angle between the mower and the ground, so you should only need to do it once to initially set the mower up. I've just got to paint all the new metalwork now. Well, that looks better. I'll just let that dry, stick another coat on a bit later on and build it back up tomorrow. Well, it's all had 2 coats of paint now. I've left it to dry overnight, so it's all nice and dry now, so I'll get it built back up and that'll be that done. So that's the mower now in roughly what would be the mowing position when it's coupled to the back of the tractor, and as you can see the front wheels are off the ground, but not by a huge amount, so if an undulation did pass under the mower it should be able to ride up over it, and you can see that the deck of the mower is now parallel to the ground. So all it needs now is a jack that's fixed to the drawbar, so it makes it easy to couple up and decouple from the tractor. Well, I can't really find anything online that's suitable as a jack for the mower, and the post at the moment seems to be really badly affected by what's going on. So I've had to rifle through some of my bits of scrap and spares and assemble a few bits, and I think I can make a jack out of them, so let's have a go. What I'm going to do is use these 2 pieces of tube. This is an old box spanner, I think, that's been cut off, and just a piece of fairly thick wall tube, to have a go at making a telescopic jack. Now it won't have much of a jacking range, but it will be specific for this mower, so it will have enough to do what it needs to do. So the idea is, if this is the drawbar on the mower, this will be attached to the side and it will pivot up out the way when it's not needed, and then when you're unhitching the mower you can just drop it down by 90 degrees and wind it down to the ground. I haven't fully figured out how I'm going to do it yet, but yeah, I think I've got everything I need. The first thing that I've got to do is just square off the ends of this piece of tube, because I obviously cut it by hand before and I can't cut very straight with an angle grinder. I copied what I've seen other people do online and added a magnetic earth clamp to my welder at the same time as putting a much longer earth lead on, because it was restrictively short, the one that came with it. But I've also put a steel top on my workbench, whereas it was wooden before, so it's great for little jobs like this where the earth clamp is just too big and heavy for the workpiece, so you can just put the clamp on the bench and earth through the bench, so that you can set up your workpiece however you like, as long as it's in contact with the bench top. Here it is in component form, so I'll just explain how it works and then we'll get some paint on it. So this is the top part of the jack, the main body. So you can see the handle there. So up inside, whether you can see it or not, just waggling around, is a piece of M12 threaded bar. So that engages with the two captive nuts that have been welded on to the top of this lower part. So obviously as you wind the handle, this goes up and down, but because they're tubed, this sometimes wants to just spin instead of winding up and down. So you can see the slot that I've added in it there, which engages with a small M5 bolt that goes through the side as an anti-rotation feature. So that just keeps the two aligned to one another, and as you turn the handle, it just goes up and down instead of rotating. You can see the two bosses that I've welded to the sides here. This one is the main pivot, so that's what allows the jack to move from the storage position to the working position. And then on this side I've fitted a sprung pin that engages with a plate that I've welded to the side of the drawbar, so that's what allows, fixes it in either of the two positions. So I made this pin out of some stainless bar, so that just goes through the side, little spring on, and then an R pin goes through there, so the end of it just sticks into two 8.5mm holes in the plate, but you can easily just pull it back by hand just to move from one to the other position. So yeah, that's the jack. It works really well. I've test fitted it. It's really easy to go up and down, but it's not over easy, if you know what I mean. You're not endlessly winding and winding. So yeah, it's turned out really well. So I'll get some paint on it and then I'll put it back together and you can see it in action. You can see the plate there that I've welded to the drawbar with the two holes in it that allow the sprung pin to locate the jack into two different positions, along with the threaded boss that I've welded on, which enables the main pivot bolt to screw into the drawbar. Well, the paint's dried overnight, so I'm just going to grease the threads inside here, put it back together and stick it on the mower. Well, that's this mod finished. I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed making it. It should make quite a big difference to the use of the mower, so it'd be worth the effort. I'll see you on the next one.